This is Abe Friedtanzer from Awards Watch, and I'm thrilled to be here with John Shenk and Pedro Kos, the filmmakers behind the Oscar-nominated documentary short film, Lead Me Home. How are you both doing today?
Doing
Good,
great.
thanks for having us.
Of course, it's really great to be able to speak with you. Your film is very powerful. As far as I understand, you set out to humanize homelessness. Is that correct?
Yeah, in a nutshell, Pedro and I, are from Los Angeles and San Francisco, and we've been living with this crisis for many, many years. And we thought that we saw an opportunity really to go out and try to show scale and scope, and also personal, intimate details regarding the crisis.
Absolutely. Please.
Exactly. And one of the things also, we've been hearing, there's, as you know, as an Angelino yourself, Abe, that there's a lot of dialogue, there's a lot of debate over this issue. But once something seems very missing from this dialogue, which is the perspective from the people experiencing homelessness themselves and connecting with them on the human level. And so I think we really wanted to help reframe the conversation, I guess, a little bit.
Absolutely. And what led to your selection of Seattle as your third sort of focus city?
We spent months researching this issue before we picked up a camera. And one thing we realized is, there was this amazing statistic back in 2017 of 500,000 Americans living unhoused on a day-to-day basis out on the streets. Now it's closer to 600,000 with the economy of the pandemic. But I think a lot of Americans also realize that it's worse on the West Coast. And so the major cities along the West Coast really are suffering the most with this issue, not because those cities are necessarily doing anything differently or wrong than the rest of the country, but the dynamics of the economy are such that these cities that are bearing the brunt.
Was there anything that you learned that really surprised you over the course of this 3-year project?
Yeah, a lot. I think this was for John, myself, and the whole team, it was a life-changing and transformative experience. One of the things that I think we as a society, as a community, so much we sort of kind of group what we think are people who are experiencing homelessness. I have a very specific idea of what that is, and we had it was the most amazing experience because we had the most extraordinary education and connecting with people from literally all walks of life and for all sorts of different life experiences. And one of the things that it is, it's not a single issue. This is as vast and wide as the stars in the sky, in terms of experiences, in terms of causes, and so I think one of the things it broadened our sort of our empathy and kind of led us to see that it's see beyond the sort of vitriol, and kind of by connecting on a human level, we're able to see that this is a system that is broken. It's indicative of a system that is broken, and it's pushing out people that are, most vulnerable, that are more, and, we tend to blame the victim. And here it's really not. I mean, John actually talks about it in a way really kind of, which really helped me sort of view the situation in a different way, which is kind of comparing it to the Great Depression, and how we view that, right, John? I mean, you say it so well when you compare.
Yeah, in the film you see people experiencing homelessness, and the way that Pedro is edited together is, we're very careful to make parallels between what people do when they don't have a home, so to speak, or a house. They're very much the same things that we do in our, in our daily lives when we do have a home. People need to sleep, they need to brush their teeth, have coffee, go through their day, do their laundry, have relationships, fall in love, even have babies. And one thing that really surprises is how many things connected ourselves to those experiencing homelessness. There's so much more that connects us than divides us, and we were constantly amazed at that, just what a human experience it is out there on the streets. During the project, we started thinking about the last time America had a crisis of housing like this, and you go back to the Great Depression that we all learned about in school, and the lesson there was that something happened at a grand level, the economic kind of federal level of the economy, that led to these shanty towns. And now the way the current day homelessness crisis is often talked about, it often tends to blame the victims. There's something wrong with these people that are experiencing homelessness, is what we're told, and we're taught to kind of fear that for ourselves, and of course we do. But when we went out actually and filmed this film, and you see this in the film, these people are amazing people. They have backgrounds as different as you can possibly imagine from one another and from each other, but they all have that human spark, and that's really what the film, I think, ultimately leaves the audience with, is just this overwhelming sense of the opportunity that we're losing as a society to include these folks in our economy and our society.
Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate the fact that there's a discussion guide on the film's website, and that there are ways to act as well, since I know that this is something that's a very moving film and there's a lot to still think about, and fortunately things to do as well. So I thank you both very much for making this film. I'm glad that it's available for all Netflix subscribers to watch, and I wish you plenty of luck in the Oscar race.
Thank you, Abe. We really appreciate your attention.
Thank you, Abe. It's been a wonderful conversation.
Thank you. It's very nice to meet you both.
Likewise.